Hi, everyone. First, really great to be a little bit closer here this time around. So great to see everybody. Very exciting time here for us, to start a new season here, start a new training camp, my first full training camp and full preseason process here. So lots of excitement for us. First of all, obviously with the additions of our coaching staff and changes there, with the additions of Spencer Carberry and Dean Chenoweth, really been a good process for us through the off-season to build towards today. And then also with the additions of our players, the amount of depth that we've added throughout, especially our forward group and goaltending, gives us lots of options and lots of competition throughout the camp. So to have this preseason and training camp gives us great excitement to be able to watch things play out.
Great. We'll start with questions. Terry Koshin, Toronto Sun.
Morning, Sheldon. Good to see you again. Okay.
It's a lot harder to find you here now.
So you talk about the depth at forward now, and Kyle just alluding to the idea that the left side is fairly wide open. What do you quote unquote plan to do there, starting with the on-ice sessions, and then how much does Matthews' absence, if he's gone for a length of time during camp, kind of impact all of that for you? Yeah,
well, obviously not having Austin for all of the on-ice sessions, will limit some of the things we would like to do, but in terms of how we're going to address things and approach it, it's going to be different phases for the camp. I think at the beginning you'll see what the lines and things look like, but in the early stages here, I'm looking to provide opportunity and try different things with different players. And as we move through the preseason, you'll see things shift a little bit more as we watch and see what we think works, or maybe we want to try different things. So it's nothing that's set in stone here. And that's what's probably the most exciting as a coach, as you go into a camp where you've got positions available and you've got competition. And we think we've got a number of options, both in the players that we've added and the players that are returning on the left side. So that's something that we're excited for here. We'll start tomorrow with a look that we want to see. It's not necessarily even things that we're looking for in terms of line combinations per se, but it's more about opportunity and having personalities together and matching leadership with younger players and things like that, because it's not just the NHL players, but even the players that are developing for us. We want to make sure that they continue on the path of growth, because they're important to us.
And I guess the other question I have is, how much do you expect Rasmus Sandin to blossom this year and become a full-time NHLer for you on the blue line? And a lot of people are worried about the future of Morgan, all that sort of thing. But as far as Sandin goes, what do you see? What do you expect out of him this year?
Yeah, I expect him to continue to take steps. I mean, all the experiences that he had last season, you're expecting, not just him, but all of our young players to benefit from that. And I know that he's excited to get going here. He's one of those guys we will move around and play in different spots throughout the camp. But we gave him those opportunities last season. He did well for us, but we believe that will help him speed along his development.
Lance Hornby, Toronto Sun.
Kyle was praising your ability, he said, to reinvent yourself. How difficult was that after what happened last year? What form may that take this season with a different lineup? And maybe you take a different mental approach with some of your guys, specifically the core four players.
Yeah, I don't necessarily look at it as reinventing myself or anything like that. I believe in who I am, and I also believe in a lot of the great things that we did last season to put ourselves in a position to compete in the playoffs. Obviously, we didn't get it done, and we recognize that. So an area of focus for us as a staff is just continuing to ensure that the things that we do from day one of training camp all through the season help us be at our best when it counts the most. And reality is that is something that was a focus for us last season as well, and it clearly didn't hold up. Our focus last season was to set the standard. We wanted to change our habits and our details, in particular defensively, and our work habits and competitiveness. We feel like we made great strides there, but it wasn't good enough. So setting the standard was our focus last season. This season, as we come into it, we're looking to raise the standard because clearly we've got to get to another level. So that's our focus as a team. That's my focus as a coach. Believe in the additions that I talked about with our coaching staff, as well as the additional depth we have throughout our roster, within the great belief I have in the character of our team and the talent. That that gives me great excitement to get started here on the ice tomorrow.
I was going to ask about the new coaches. Can you just talk a bit about the two new guys and what their responsibilities might be?
Yeah, Dean Chanel obviously comes over to us, from Carolina. He had done an unbelievable job with a very good team, very good defense core. So he'll work with the defense with us. I also ran one of the top penalty kills over the last 3 seasons in Carolina as well. So he'll work with the penalty kill with us and continue along that path. He's got a great personality, great experience as both a player and coach, and has added a lot to our staff here already. And Spencer Carberry's a guy I have tremendous respect for from the time that I met him when he worked with us in a development camp a number of years ago when I was with the Marlies and coaching against him in the American League in Hershey. He's coming off being the coach of the year, and the more you call around, you can't hear enough good things about the job that he's done there. And again, it's a guy that's brought a lot to our staff. He's gonna take the lead with our power play this season. Manny Maholcha will remain on the bench with us and support both Dean and Spencer in their roles, as well as working with me and our forwards. So I think we've got a really well-rounded staff that it's been great to work with them this summer with some of the protocols and such easing a little bit. We've been able to work a little bit closer versus having to do everything really by Zoom is what we did in the past. This season we've been together a whole lot more in the lead up to camp, and we're ready to go.
Josh Clipperton, Canadian Press.
Hey, Sheldon. This is, I guess, your 3rd season, or parts of 3 seasons you've been with the team. What have you learned about this job that maybe you didn't know coming in terms of the demands or the pressure or anything?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything there in terms of the demands or the pressure. I knew exactly what I was getting into there, and I accept the responsibility that comes with that. I think just the thing that's continued to be something that I've thought a great deal about is just the pace of the league, and really what I'm referring to is just the rhythm of the schedule. Obviously, there's been some wrinkles. Certainly last season was much different than a normal season. I think all coaches were adjusting to that, but the pace of the league is significantly different in terms of the way that the games come and the travel and the things that are associated with that you don't face in the American Hockey League quite the same. So there's been consistent adjustments to be made there for me in terms of practice planning and rest and recovery and just how you build out your foundation as a team and how you reinforce different things as the season moves along. It becomes a lot harder to get real practice time. You get time on the ice to practice, but in many cases you're out there, you're looking to just get the guys a quick sweat and feel the puck and get them off the ice. In terms of really working at their game, it's a lot more challenging. And that puts even more importance on a training camp and preseason schedule. And I'm really excited to get started tomorrow with that.
There's no doubt, sorry, Sheldon, there's no doubt that you guys did a lot of good things last year defensively, structurally. Obviously, it didn't end well. There was the issues with the talk of killer instinct. How do you the team wants to move forward, but how do you cherry pick the good things and try to forget the bad things? Because there was a lot of good, but it obviously didn't end the way you wanted.
Yeah, I don't think you never want to forget. That certainly is not what my job is, or not the approach that I've taken here. We want to learn through everything that we've gone through. Our players have taken the same approach. I know in the discussions that I've had with them and some of the reports that they've come back to me with the discussions they've had amongst themselves, there's no forgetting, and there's learning and moving forward. But we can't lose sight of the fact that we did do a number of great things last season, and we're not here to to change our foundation that I believe we laid as a team last year. I think as part of the disappointment that we had and how bad that felt was because of the belief and the excitement that was built up over the course of the season. And the players earned that through the work that they put in. We asked for a lot of changes in the habits and details of how they play defensively. We saw significant growth that way. I don't believe that those in any way were the reason why we weren't successful in the playoffs. Like I said, the key for us here is the things that we do, especially offensively, that we would need them to hold up over the course, not just of the regular season, but in the postseason as well when it counts the most.
Kevin McGrant, Toronto Star.
Sheldon, just a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind. One of the things that did really well at the beginning of last season that faded at the end was the power play. How much did you ruminate over what went wrong and what might change going into this season on that particular front?
Yeah, a lot, obviously. That was a priority for us. You know, as we went through the process, in particular when Dave Haxtell moved on and got the head coach position in Seattle, that was, you know, the real impetus for us to really look and obviously had to make changes to our staff. It started with Dean Chenault, but also just led me to have a greater look at our staff and how we worked and what we had been through over the course of the season, specific to the power play. You know, I think there's a number of circumstances there that we hope don't repeat themselves in terms of injuries and things that force us to move things around more than we would have liked to. But we've got a fresh start here. Spencer's got a great plan, and we've got Manny Maholcher to work with him as well, who's now been through it with our team and with our group for a year. But we've got some changes in personnel at the same time. We know who the returning players are, and they're going to be very important, of course, you know, in our power play. But we've got to establish a great foundation and look to build upon it throughout the season for sure. But it's something that we've looked at and talked about a lot, and you know, we'll try some different looks through camp and look to get back to where we had it and look to sustain that.
The other question, you spoke about the pressures of this market. You knew what you were getting into. I asked this of Kyle earlier. Do you feel your job is on the line more this year than it has been at any previous point?
Those types of thoughts don't come into my mind. I mean, these are things that are out of my control. Just like I ask the players to control what they can control in terms of their effort and their habits and their focus, I've got to remain focused here. I've got a job to do. I recognize and accept the pressure and responsibility that comes with this position. I knew that when I got into it. There hasn't been a day where I've thought about it, but there also hasn't been a day where I don't recognize the responsibility that I have towards our fans and our ownership and our management team. So again, I'm excited for a new season here. I believe greatly in our group and our staff. And a day like today is a great one because, you know, we're in the moment here and we're gonna remain there. And the process of building a team starts tomorrow on the ice.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
We'll do 4 final ones, Mark, Pierre, Luke, and Kristen.
Sheldon, what sort of impact do you expect Greg Harden can make for the coaching staff this season?
Well, I think he's a great resource, not just for the players, but for the coaching staff as well, and really all facets of our organization. He's got lots of great experience and perspective. Just another great resource for us to lean upon, you know, throughout the season.
When it comes to your goaltending, how do you see that position as the camp opens? Is Jack Campbell as the incumbent starter kind of it's his job to lose, or do you see it as a true competition to be the opening day starter?
Yeah, I see it as a great competition. I don't put a whole lot of emphasis on opening day or anything like that. As we very well know, it's a very long season. And we've got 2 great competitors there that have both coming off great seasons, are both very confident in their abilities. Obviously, we developed great confidence in Jack, and he earned that through his performance last season. He's worked extremely hard this offseason, and Peter comes in as well with great experience, great confidence, and has had great success as well. So we think we've got a great tandem there that'll work together and will compete on the ice starting tomorrow for the net, but we'll do so for the benefit of the team, and we know we're going to need both, and we'll lean on both throughout the season.
Kristen Chilton, TSN.
Hey Sheldon, I'm just wondering, is Paul MacLean playing a role as well with the coaching staff this year?
Yeah, he's remaining as on staff, but not in the same role as last season. It'll be more an advisory type of role. He's actually recovering from a surgery here right now, second hip surgery for him. So he's going to go through that process. But yeah, he'll be around us, but not in the same capacity as last season.
Okay, and I just wanted to follow up, when you talked about getting to that next level, it's kind of can be a bit of a catch-all. What will you see at this camp, I guess, just to start, that will show you that players understand, whether it's on the ice, off the ice, like that they've taken, those messages and that disappointment and they're turning it into something positive?
Yeah, I think just through the attitude and the mindset of our team. Again, we've had great discussions through the offseason, and we're going to hit the ice, and then you need to see it through action. As I said, there's a lot of things that we saw great progress in last season. I don't remember exactly just how much the media and press was around for our training camp that we had at the start of last season, but we saw a great increase there, and we're looking to just raise that standard and get it to another level this time around. So, whether it's me up here, or whether it's the players, or whether we're in a meeting room, or whatever it is, we can talk and plan and do all the things we want, but it's about action on the ice, and that's what I'm most excited about for tomorrow.
Pierre LeBrun, The Athletic.
Sheldon, last season, one of the trademarks of your team, I thought, was that when you had a low point or a few bad games, you bounced back pretty strongly. The season never felt like it was derailing. How important will that be this year, where there's even more pressure, where I'm sure at some level you wish you could jump in a time machine and get right back to the playoffs, where a lot of your critics are saying, yeah, but let's see come playoff time. How do you sort of get your players from a psychological perspective through that burden?
Yeah, well, first, I of course recognize the attention and the urgency that comes with the playoffs. I actually don't wish we could get in a time machine there, because the process to me is the greatest part of as you go through and building a team, and the things you go through from a training camp through the 82 game season and then into the preseason. Those are the things that that you as you build through it, those are the things that you lean upon, that when adversity hits and things get tough, that propel you forward. I mean, when you're a part of short-term events and things like that, it's great when you win, but it's not quite the same. It's the grind, and it's everything that you go through as a team. It's the ups and downs. And while I do think we had a very consistent season last year, there's a couple of segments of that season for me that I point at where we did lose. At one point in time, it was 5 games in a row, and one time we lost 6 out of 7. I mean, those are the types of things that we've looked at, that were blips in our season last year, where we don't want to have those. We want to get back on track quickly, and we did that a lot. We didn't do it all the time. And again, that's where we talked about. We set the standard last season. We made great progress, but it clearly wasn't good enough. And I think those are 2 things that I point to that that we want to. The 2 things that looked the most similar to what happened to us in the playoffs, and in terms of losing consecutively and not being able to get it back. But like I said, there was great progress made with our team. We can't lose sight of that, but we also know that it didn't hold up in the end. So we've got to take that to another level here.
Thanks.
Luke Fox, Sportsnet.
Hi, Sheldon. What intrigues you most about Josh Ho-Sang and Nikita Gusev, a couple guys coming in here on tryout? What do they have to do to make the team?
What intrigues me the most is just talent, skill, added depth for our team. First of all, it's going to make our training camp and preseason a lot more competitive when players see more players like that around them. So that makes more competition through our camp, and that's something that we really like. We've talked about the importance of that. We want to have that level of competitiveness right from day one. We don't want to. We like the competition, and the fact that as I go into it, I can't tell you with great certainty what the lines will look like when we open in game 1, and that's a good feeling for me. And it's one because I have a number of different options, as I've said, not just the players that you've mentioned, but players that we've signed and that we brought in, but also players that are returning for us that we believe might be able to give us more. So, the added talent here, and I've watched a little bit, not a whole lot, but there's been a lot happening in the last number of weeks here in the facility in preparation for camp, and I look at the names and I look at the rosters that we've put together to start camp tomorrow, and I see great depth. I don't see a lot of holes there, that I've seen in some other camps. So that extra depth there is good for us in terms of what we need to see for them. They need to be themselves and show their skill, but they also need to have the same foundation we're asking for all of our players in terms of competitiveness, physicality, structure, and the consistency that they bring with it. So those things are vital for all the players that are seeking to make this team.
And one of the returning guys is Mikheyev, and there was a report that he requested a trade. Did you sense any dissatisfaction from his part, or that he wanted a larger role, or what was your sense of his season?
Well, I think Mickey's certainly one of those guys that wants a larger role. I think a lot of players, anytime you're running a team and you get lower in the lineup, you're going to get players that want more. And that's a great thing as a coach, because they're hungry for more, they're working for more. He, like a lot of others, will get opportunities through this preseason to do more. I believe in Mickey greatly. He's an extremely important player for us in the things that he does. And if we can get him to add more to his game and take on more, then even better for our team.